Welcome to the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raquel Tosin, and we are broadcasting on WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network, where we educate, empower, and encourage. If you have been encouraged or educated or empowered by something that I've said or one of my guests said on the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast, I need you to do me a favor. Go to www.wytv7.org. Hit the green donate button, green for money, y'all. Listen, it's a tax write off. We in tax time, and you know you need a write off. So go ahead, hit that donating button, $5, $50, whatever, and help keep the broadcast on air. We help kids go to college and we feed families. So go and hit that donate button. Now, you guys know we are in 2022, the year of the family. That's all we're talking about is family, family first. I have two wonderful guests with me, JR and Jaquela. Am I saying your name right? Because I've heard so many people say it Jaquela, and I'm like, well, I thought it was Jaquela, but then I heard a Jaquela, and then I was like, so girl, you're going to have to help me out. Which is the right pronunciation?
It's JR.
You got it right. No, you got it right. It's Jaquela. And some people, yes, I've heard every variation of my name. And
Yes.
on what mood I'm in, I might correct you or I might just keep it moving.
I hear you because my name is Raquel and I get Raquel, Rachel, it don't even matter. It's like you said, it'd be like, yes, I know who you're talking to. Like my mom will call me her sister Marion. I knew who she was talking to because it was just me in the house. So I just said, yes, ma'am. Anyway, the Leonards are here. We're talking about money. We are in April. You know, you remember the things that April showers bring May flowers? Mm-hmm. When I think about showers, I think about money. I know I wasn't a stripper, so don't look at me like that. I wasn't a stripper, but still, I think about showers of money, or how we in church say showers of blessings, okay? So we are going to talk about money, and the Leonards are here to talk about marriage and money. Because did y'all know the reason why most people get divorced is not infidelity, it's money. Yep. So if we're going to focus on the family, I think we need to be talking about marriage and money. So I thank you for being on the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, it is a pleasure to be here.
So y'all gave me y'all bio, but I don't want to read that. Is that okay? I don't want to read that. I want to just get right into it because y'all are an exciting couple. I know the people like, but who are they? What they talking? Listen, y'all, we gonna put the bio in there we'll put it in the comments. Y'all go down there and look at it. But I want to know, because I'm nosy. I want to know how y'all met and got married. Because, I'm 52. I still ain't met nobody I want to marry yet. So tell me how y'all met and decided y'all want to get married.
Well, we met twice. Let's just start with that. We met twice. So the first time we met it was crazy. It was right after both of us had broke off our engagements with someone else, and his brother and my sister thought it would be a great idea to invite us to a bowling alley to meet one another. So I got there.
They can see my new motorcycle. I want to show my brother my bike.
Yeah, and I just wanted to see my little sister, but they had other plans. So we got there and he's like, y'all sisters? And wow, and I'm like, thank you. Because as I'm looking at him, all I saw was like this little church boy on a motorcycle. So that was the first time we met, but neither of us were like, trying to get together. Like we met and that was that.
Yeah, I was not looking for a relationship at the time.
But y'all just got out of an engagement.
Yeah.
And he did check me out though, because he was looking at my sister and he was looking at me and he said, wow. So, he did leave a lasting impression. So
She looked good. So the crazy thing about it is at this point in time when we met, it was in Columbus, Ohio at a bowling alley, right? I'm from the state of Maryland. And right around the Delmarva, DC area.
Mm.
So at the time, I just broke up my engagement with a woman who lived in Columbus, Ohio, and I still lived in Maryland, and I was traveling back and forth every weekend, most weekends to come see her.
And I had broke off an engagement with a guy who lived in the DC area. And I was traveling back and forth to go see him
from Columbus.
Stop it.
And as strange as it is, we were actually stopping at the same exact rest stops.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And even when he moved back to Columbus, we went to the same church for years and I never saw him.
I played the piano I was one of the ministers at the church. I also played the piano, right? So I set up on stage. I could see everybody, especially during offering time.
And I was a dancer. So I was always on stage and up front because I had to dance. And
I promise you, I never saw this woman in my life.
Not one time. And so we met again a year and a half later, I think. And we went
at the church?
Nope, not at the church. No. So we went to a housewarming party and I was fashionably late. And so when I walked in the door, she's like, do you know anybody here? Because I was new to like her crowd of people. And so I'm looking around, I was like, But then I saw him in the corner and I was like, oh, I know him. Just like that. He has this skewed view that I came in the door and I was like, I know you. That's how he saw it. But I think it was because he was mesmerized by my beauty. So he was seeing doubles and triples, And we talked that night. It was the longest housewarming party I've ever been to. I mean, like, I was late and we still didn't leave till like midnight.
Oh, wow.
But it gave us an opportunity to talk all night. And we swapped numbers that night. And, we've been together ever since.
How long did it take you guys to get married?
We got engaged 9 months after we met. And it took us 9 months to plan our wedding. So 18 months.
18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And now we're in year 12 of marriage with 3 boys.
3 boys,
Yeah.
yep.
Wow. That is like a really good story. Like, that's a really good, it's like Hallmarkish. That I'm sitting here watching, like I watch my Hallmark movies. It's Saturday night, like I'm watching Hallmark, like, oh, it's so cute.
There's a lot of juicy parts in there that we left out.
I'm sure it's some other juicy parts where, just the fact that it's just what's the word? It's a blessing that you guys ended relationships, which I'm sure was hard. I mean, because it wasn't just a relationship, it was somebody you were going to marry. So it had to have been hard, even if it was you that did it, but you stayed open to receive love because you could have got bitter. Like I said, even if you were the one that broke it off, because most people break it off because the person did something, or if it was broken off, it's like, but you stay open for love. And even though that first time you met, it wasn't like an instant love connection, but you weren't ready yet, but you still were open, because that's why you were able to remember him when you did see him again, because you stay open. And that's like something that everybody needs to learn out there. I'm talking to me too. I'm everybody. So don't be saying stuff. We have to stay open to love. So that was kudos to y'all. But now, let's get down into the money thing. Because like we said, money is like, a source of what breaks up marriages. You guys have been together for 12 years. You guys come from different areas. I mean, you come from the city. I mean, I know Columbus is a city, but it ain't the city like, the Maryland, DC area.
I'm not even from Columbus. I'm actually from a really small town in Ohio called Youngstown. So
even smaller.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you had different views of money and how to do money. So talk to the people about how to bring 2 thoughts. Like, what was that? How was that?
Man.
It was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It was hard because I grew up pretty much like a rich kid. You know, I got $100 allowances every week, and our parents, there were 8 of us, and they bought everybody Jordans at the same time, you know, and I would get the receipt though and take my Jordans back because I felt like I had big feet, you know, and so I didn't want them big old boats on my feet. So I would get my $160 and go to like 579 and buy me like 12 pairs of shoes instead, you know. So I was the kid out of the 8 of us. I was like, I'm gonna make the most out of this, you know. So they would get mad because they would have like 1 pair of shoes and I had like 14. So, but where money was not really an issue or an object, you know, you want something, you get it. And that was my experience. I had a full ride to college, so I didn't have to worry about that. But then
meanwhile, I grew up the struggle. So I know what powdered milk is. I know beans and cheese and all that stuff. And so money was an object. Allowance? What? No, there was no allowance. That was unheard, especially hundreds of dollars. But
I'm in your camp.
Yeah. So, you know, my parents, we had love. Meanwhile, she had 14 pairs of shoes. You know, I grew up where I had 8 pairs of shoes and they were talking. Like I have still. Remember back in the day when our shoes used to talk?
Yeah.
You don't see no kids like that anymore. But yeah, my shoes would talk. Jeans had holes in them before that was popular.
Before it was cool.
Yeah. Before that was cool. So money was something that was very tight, but we didn't, you know, our focus wasn't so much on the money. It was, you know, I come from, you know, a father and a mother who were married, which is a little different situation. And it was about the love, you know, and you know, that as my wife calls us, the family man. What do you call it?
Now I used to call them
the Cosbys,
the Cosbys or the Brady Bunch. I can't remember. I stopped saying it now, but
a loving family.
He grew up in a household where he had mom, dad, and all the kids was by the same person, you know. In my house, there was, you know, a blended family. If you combined all of us, there was probably like 4 or 5 moms and like 5 dads, you know.
Okay.
Only like 2 or 3 of them had the same mom and dad, you know. And so we had a blended family. We did things very different, you know. So
meanwhile, right, as we get together, I come and she says, I came with a spreadsheet.
No, he came with a very neat Excel spreadsheet with colors for the payments and a system. And like, it was like nerd 2.0, right? And
so you came with a budget.
Well, no. What? No. So this is where budgeting came later in our marriage.
Yeah.
So what I was doing is I was keeping track of everything I paid, but not actually budgeting. I didn't really know a concept of budgeting at this time, but I could tell you the confirmation number of every payment I had ever made, you know, blah, 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 blah.
So he had a spreadsheet and I had a panic attack. So literally every month, every 2 weeks, whenever the bills were due, my heart would literally like pound out of my chest because I never saw my parents pay bills.
Yeah.
I never heard my mom say, oh my gosh, I need money for this. They never allowed us to see that. And so when I was an adult, I had to pay my own bills, and I would do stuff like my grandma's husband always said, pay yourself first. Well, I paid myself in high heels. And so every paycheck, I was going to buy me some purple heels, some pink heels, some open toes, some button shoe. Like I had 66 pairs of high heels when I met him. And he's like, why you need so many shoes? My shoe game was on point, but when it came to using my finances to pay bills and to like take care of business, I had an anxiety attack every month.
Now, this is before we got married. Yeah. So I was going over to her apartment and it would be time for her to pay her rent. And when she said she was having a panic attack, she was literally melting down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, you have the money, right? Yeah. I'm like, don't you have to pay this like every month? Yeah. I couldn't understand. I mean, it was
a shocker to me. I wasn't used to paying bills. I was used to all my money being my money to do what I wanted to do with it. So like giving it to the electric company was foreign. I'm like, you want my money? Like
this is so funny. This is, wait a minute, this is hilarious. We have to take a break, but you guys don't want to, you guys have to come back because we have to get into this because I have never met anybody like Jaquela. So I want to know how they pulled it together. And I know you do too. So you guys come right back.
You're invited to the Smart Strategies for a Slim Body Masterclass hosted by Integrative Healing Arts and Simply Fit. Throughout the demonstrated masterclass, you'll learn healthy habits that will slim you down, like making time for exercise and finding a quiet place for meditating. Throughout the masterclass, you'll learn about acupuncture and sleep, as well as balanced meals and responsible snacking. For more information about the May 21st Masterclass, just click the registration link that you see on the screen.
And we are back with the Leonards. And we have learned a lot about Miss Jaquela. So I need to know, JR, how did you get her? I mean, how did you have to shake her? Like, what did you have to do to get to wrangle her in to your whole system, even though you didn't have a perfect system, but you knew about paying bills? How did that happen?
Yeah, so definitely as we continue to mature in our relationship and then ultimately getting married, I took the responsibility of paying the bills and tracking them and kind of showing her what I was doing. And then later, several years later, we got introduced to more of the budgeting and
saving.
Saving, budgeting, and probably Dave Ramsey's financial.
We did. Somebody gifted Financial Peace University to us. So before that, he created me a pretty package spreadsheet. And then we got married and we were gifted the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. So we did that. And it was super exciting because we saved our first $1,000 together as a married couple,
Oh. Okay.
And then we got introduced to YNAB, which is you need a budget.
A budget. It is.
It changed the game for us.
It really did.
And so we send people, like our link, like here, sign up for it, because it helps you. And we work together. It teaches you how to use your money, how every dollar has a job. And we worked on it together. So it wasn't just him. We sat together, we budgeted together, we planned out our money, we paid ourselves, we paid the Lord, like we gave our money a job.
Yeah. And so we went from, with the system I had initially, right? I could track based on what my checking account kind of said. But really, if you already have a payment out there or something that just hasn't hit, you really can't go by what your checking account says, right? So that's when we got into the whole budgeting. And like my wife said, it was revolutionary. So then we begin to understand, okay, we block out certain chunks or buckets of money that's allocated for certain things. And that's what they're used for. And we track it. We track our purchases against those items. We moved to start using basically cash only, even if it was our debit card, but we're paying cash, no credit cards. We eliminated that stuff. So when we started, it was myself doing the budget, doing the finances, kind of got my wife in, we sat together, we started learning together. And fast forward to today, now she does it. She handles the finances.
Yeah.
Without the panic attacks.
Yes.
No panic attacks.
No panic attacks, baby.
Right. Well, praise God. You know what? So it's really interesting because a lot of people, when they're thinking about getting married, budgeting and having a financial plan is usually not top on the list. Most people are just thinking about the wedding. They're thinking about how many kids we want to have, where we want to live. But before all of that, I'm telling y'all, and I know y'all like, well, you ain't even married, child, but I'm ready. I already know. But you have to set a budget or I like to say a financial vision for your family, because it's not just about the money. It's about, the money that you spend, okay? It's also about who gonna make the money. How we gonna make the money? Is both of us gonna work full time? or when the kids come, or is somebody gonna stay at home or work part-time? I mean, these are the kind of things you have to talk about because it is still your financial future.
Right.
How did you guys decide that? Because I know right now you guys are actually homeschooling. So like, how did you decide about the working full time, being your own boss? How did y'all figure that out?
It was pretty organic.
Yeah.
Like we started when it was just the two of us. We both went to work. I don't want to be home by myself anyway. So we both got up. We both went to work. We had a baby, and we agreed that I would stay home and breastfeed our child and raise them for the first year of their life. Then I went back to work, and so for all of our kids, we both worked. Then I stayed home for a year. Then put them in daycare. I went back to work. We did that cycle. When we had our third kid, though, that was in Ohio. That's when the Lord told us to move to Florida. And so we ended up I didn't go back to work in a professional manner, like for corporate America, but I was able to take my side hustle at the time, because we both had side hustles. We weren't just relying on the man. Okay. We both had side hustles, and I was able to take my side hustle and go full time as a speaker and entrepreneur and everything.
I'll say one thing that really helped us was initially when we came together, we both agreed that my money is her money and her money is my money. Or not even that so much, but it's our money.
Yeah, we have one bank account.
Yeah, and
where our checks go into.
So, and we've seen through our marriage other couples where it's like, oh no, they do that, they pay the phone, they do, and their money is split, and it just we decided early on it was going to be a group effort. So,
and that's definitely important, figuring it out, because I've heard a lot of different things, and I don't know if it was Steve Harvey. I know people kind of hate on him sometimes, but sometimes he say some smart stuff. What you say? Even a broke clock is right twice, right? And I'm just playing. If Steve Harvey out there listening, I'm just playing because I love some of the stuff that you say. But putting all your money in an account, right? Some people are like, but what if I want to buy you a gift and then it's out? And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. But if you did have a separate account, it's about you get to agree on what that little small amount is, and then you take it, and it's not that it's my money. It's like, okay, we have decided that you get this kind of allowance and you get this, so you can buy whatever you want, so it don't have to be about that. But it's still the main money is in one pot to pay all the bills, to do the savings, to do the trips. And so that really, when I talk to a lot of people, they said that works for them. But even just having the one account, and it's not my money, your money, having it's our money, it's the family's money, because it's not, when you really think about it, it's your kids' money too, because they got to eat and live off of it. Oh. Well, you know what? But let me tell y'all, because even though I've never been married, but I have a kid, he made money. His money was our money, because we came out to California for him to act. I didn't work. So his money was still our money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, dude, I know, but we gotta live, the bills have to be paid. So he even learned, it's like, look, you can make money, but it's the household's money. Right. And you get your little bit allowance. Just like even with me as a grown woman, I get my little bit allowance that I can do, but I can't take from the household money.
Yeah. Right. And we budget for anniversaries and birthdays and holidays. And so we have our slush funds, we call it. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's really cool. So tell me this though, because you guys talked about what was the name of that? The budget things? You need a budget. What was that?
Yeah. Yes. It's called You Need a Budget. So YNAB.
YNAB. Okay.
Now they used to have an app. But now they've gone to completely in the cloud, so you can access the web browser.
That's something important. We'll make sure that we put that up for people, because I wholeheartedly believe, like I teach everybody, if you're not budgeting, your money is going wherever. It may be going to Starbucks. I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about y'all, but it may be going to Starbucks, Amazon. Amazon might be eating up that money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about y'all, I'm talking about me. But if you don't budget, that's what happens. But you know what? You have to be careful about being real tight. And I hope y'all not real tight. If you like to go to Starbucks, you better make sure you have Starbucks item in that budget so you can go to your Starbucks.
I have a section just for me. And it's usually spent on Starbucks because I like my spinach feta wrap and my grande caramel frappuccino, and I ain't giving it up. So
that is so true. I tell people all the time, I was like, look, anything, that's why people hate the word budget and diet, because they get so strict with it. And I'm like, you don't have to be strict with it. You just have to be consistent with it.
I tell people, even with a diet or a budget, it's not about taking away. It's not about taking things away.
Right.
It's about
kids. That's what happens. We got kids. It's true.
They're throwing stuff at us.
That's hilarious.
I got a sock on my desk now. So, but I teach people, like, even because I am a productivity and wellness coach. So I teach you, like, it's not about taking stuff away. It's about making sure that you're giving the right energy and time and balance to the things that you need. Like, Starbucks is a need to me. Like,
yeah, but setting these boundaries is actually, it's freeing. It gives you freedom and flexibility.
Yeah.
You can do, you can't do.
Yeah.
So you don't go in the hole.
Right. Look, we are almost out of time. So I do want to give you the last 5 minutes to tell everybody, you already started, Jaquela, about what you do. So, I mean, you guys are just, young couples probably could call y'all and get some advice, but what do you guys do?
Well, we do everything together. For one, we support each other, uplift each other. When one says, I'm going to get a master's degree, the other one went and got one too, so we are a level up team. I am licensed as a nursing home administrator, and I teach health and wellness classes. And as I was in the nursing home administration world and public health, I realized that instead of working with the seniors who were at the end of their life, I wanted to work with people who were in the prime of their life to truly live the best life and the healthiest life. So I'm a life coach, and my focus is productivity and wellness. So I speak across the country, talking to people about how to win their day and actually be healthy enough to enjoy the life that they're living. And I'm an author of Before the Sun Rises, and that's SON because we got 3 sons, 10 and 9.
And you, JR?
Man, I should have went first. That was amazing.
Let me do yours for you. So this is
So I'm a business professional. I am an apostle in ministry. I currently work for a bioinformatics company focused on oncology. I'm working as an engineering manager. Sorry for the kids in the background.
No worries.
Back in 2009, I started a media design business called 3JP Media. So there's basically 3 J's. It was for JR, Jaquela. It was for Jesus, JR, and Jaquela. Prophetic media. Because I believe that, creation begins with just a word. And so it is a passion of mine to help people tell their story in a creative way, whether that's through imagery, photography, videography, and as well, I hate to see people hurting, right? So I love to help people move from their pain into purpose and really move in the purpose of their life that God created for them.
I love it. You guys are awesome. And for you guys, I was introduced to these two because of the MommyCon. I was a speaker at their first ever MommyCon, and it was awesome. So if you want to put on, I know y'all probably like, wait a minute, but if you want to put on an event like a MommyCon, a virtual event, y'all better give them a call because they did a phenomenal job. I'm trying to figure out how we gonna do one at WYTV7. I've already been talking about it, so we will be giving you a call because I am so ready to do an event with you guys. You did an excellent job. Kudos to you, and kudos on everything that you have going on. I appreciate you. I keep you in my prayers with all the stuff that you guys have going on with the boys, and It's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing so much about your travels and everything. You're gonna have to come back and share with everybody what you guys are doing when you're actually in it and doing it. Oh, there's the balloon. Listen, I'm a boy's mom, so I totally understand. I totally get it. But okay, thank you so much. And for you guys out there, I hope you got something. If you're thinking about getting married, if you're married and you guys don't have it all together, take what they said and and figure out what you can do to strengthen your marriage, because if you get your finances right, it really helps to strengthen your marriage. And until next week, guys, be blessed.